Did everyone enjoy the snacks prepared by the culinary team? Yes. Good. Now let's get to know each other a little better. Please welcome Nicole to lead you in some icebreakers.
Hey everyone, I'm Nicole. So, are you all ready for some icebreakers? Are you sure? Are you guys ready for some icebreakers? That's more like it. Okay, so we're going to be doing two icebreakers today. Before that, though, I'd like to reiterate the camp theme, which is may we cherish all life with gratitude, respect, and love. May we together create blessings with harmony and reverence. And our camp slogan, does anyone remember what our camp slogan is? Enrich your life, awaken your heart. Yeah, I see you. Good job, everyone. So, our first icebreaker is the heart map, which has to do with our camp slogan when you're awakening your heart. So, if on your tables you have paper, but if you have your own notebooks, please take those out instead of using the paper because we don't have enough for everyone. But if you don't, feel free to use the paper and the pens. So, on your piece of paper, draw three hearts, one within the other. Um, but have them big enough where you can write or draw things inside, because that's what we'll be doing. So make sure that it's big enough for you to read or big enough so you can understand it. Just don't make it too small because then you won't be able to fill it in. And then after you draw those three hearts, please add these four lines in the middle heart. So this is going to separate this into four quadrants of the middle heart. And once you do that, we're going to do our first question, which is filling in the middle heart. So the middle heart is please write or draw what brings us joy. So this could be for you personally, what makes you happy, what makes you joyful. So feel free to write or draw that in the center, the innermost heart. And then once you're done, put your pens down so I know where you guys are, so I don't go too fast. Remember that the hearts have to be big enough. Yes. I'm going to move on to the second part, which is in the middle quadrants, you're going to answer four questions. So, what inspired you to join Tsuji? What people have impacted your Tsuji experience in the beginning? What are some experiences or essential events you'll never forget? And what's your activation moment? So you can write or draw these, and then after you finish, you'll have about 10 minutes to share in your group what you wrote down. Okay, time's up. Sorry to interrupt your discussion. Before we move on, though, is there a person who'd like to share like a story in their group that they felt really inspired by, or like touched by, or just thought was really cool? Please raise your hand so I can come to you. Anybody? Any volunteers? It doesn't have to be about yourself. It can be about someone else, but you can also talk about yourself too. If not, I will move on. Group leaders. Okay, never mind then. All right. So, so we're going to be using these heart maps tomorrow in our gratitude class. So please put these heart maps in a safe place where you'll remember them. You will be using them tomorrow, so yeah, put them away safely. Um, okay, so also I was hearing some really good discussion while I was walking around. So thank you guys for doing that. It sounds like you guys all have pretty cool stories. And then for our second icebreaker, so we just did our icebreaker, the heart map, on enriching your life, enrich your life, awaken your heart. But now we're going to go back to the camp theme. May we cherish all life with gratitude, respect, and love. May we together create blessings with harmony and reverence. So I bolded and made yellow gratitude, respect, and love because that's the theme for our next icebreaker, our GRL icebreaker. So on your table, there should be an index card that says G, R, or L. So on the back of it are these questions and for your respective letter. So these questions are not meant to be answered fully, although you can. They're just meant to guide you in the right direction. For example, if you have a story about respect that you really want to share with your group, that's totally fine. You don't have to answer all the questions, just to make that clear with everyone. So you do not have to answer the questions. They're just there to help you formulate your thoughts, maybe think of a story that you have thought of. And then, so this is round one. There'll be 2 rounds. Round one is going to be within your teams. You're going to discuss your stories about your respective letter, and you'll have 15 minutes to do that. So you guys can start. Okay, time's up. Sorry to interrupt your discussions. It's time for round 2, but before I do that, I'm gonna have to separate some group members. I'm sorry. So can someone from group 1 please join group number 3? Just anybody, and then you'll adopt group 3's letter. I'm sorry to do this to you. I really know you guys don't want to be separated, but it just gotta happen. And then meanwhile, can we have someone from, what's number you? Group 4, come to group number 5 up here, please. Just one person, just anybody. And then you'll adopt the letter from group 5. Just one person. Okay, yes, Nick. Thank you. And okay, so round 2, I'm going to do a brief instruction. So for round 2, in a second, I'll be, in a couple minutes, I'll be splitting you into zones. But once you're in a zone, you'll have, it'll be 1, 2, 3 in zone 1. So it's group 1 is G, group 2 is R, group 3 is L. So then you're gonna try to find 2 people with different letters as you. So if for example, I'm an R, I have to find a G and an L. And then if you do not have a complete set, because there are some uneven numberings around here, please raise your hand, and then curriculum team will help find you a group, or they can fill in. So just raise your hand if you end up not being able to find find a trio. And then once you guys are in your group, you have to listen to my cue. So for once the game begins, I will say it'll be the person with G goes first, shares first, for 2 minutes, mindful listening. So mindful listening is when you have to speak, well, you let the person speak, but you can't interrupt it. As much as you want to say something, oh, I want to do this too, this is so cool, you can't do that. You have to mindfully listen to them. So you try to resist those urges to speak up and conversate with your partner, but for this activity, I'm going to ask you not to talk while they're sharing. So that's 2 minutes per person. So person G goes for 2 minutes, person R goes for 2 minutes, and person L goes for 2 minutes. And then you can discuss what you want. So you can say what you heard, what you said in your group about your story. You can even say someone in your group who has a really interesting story that you'd like to share. Or you can even say something about a different letter that you really resonated with but you didn't get. So it's up to you what you want to share. And I'll give you 30-second warnings. So before we do that, I'd like to do a quick demo. So for example, I think I have an R here. I'm looking for a G and an L. Can someone help me with that?
Oh, I have a G.
Oh, okay. Okay, we should be a group. Okay. Wait, you don't, is it, no, don't turn it off. Oh, sorry. Are you okay? Okay, so we're a group now.
Okay, so I have G for gratitude, which means I'll go
Use your
first.
mic. Use your mic.
The mic wasn't working earlier.
Okay, oh, well, it's
Okay,
not.
now it's working. Okay, so I have G for gratitude, which means I'll go first. My name is Nathan. I'm from the southern region. My group is curriculum.
Yes.
Yes.
Wait.
Oh,
hold on,
wait.
hold on.
You had to wait for the cue.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Person G, 2 minutes, starting now.
Okay, now I can go. So my name is Nathan. I'm from the southern region. My group is curriculum. And for gratitude, I have to say that I'm very grateful for you all to be here today. I'm very excited to hear the various experiences that everyone has and their thoughts about the 4 spiritual soups.
Okay, 2 minutes are up. Thank you. Person G. Person R, you can go. 2 minutes are starting. Okay, so hi, I'm Nicole. I'm from the Northeast/Mid-Atlantic region. I'm on the curriculum team. I have R, so that's respect. I really respect the mentors that I...
Oh yeah, I really respect mentors too.
Shh, listen. Okay, as I was saying, I really respect my mentors, especially Diana, who's brought me up since I was in 7th grade as a Tsusao, and now she's my curriculum lead today. Okay, 2 minutes are up. Person L, please go.
Okay, so my name is Ben. I'm from the Northeast region, and I'm curriculum group. So for L, I just love the TC food. Everywhere I go, every time I go to a TC event, it's always good. I just love eating it. And I love to see people all the time at conferences. And yeah.
Wait, Ben.
You didn't answer all the guidance questions.
Okay, well, Nathan, they're guidance questions. I don't have to answer all of them.
Okay, so yeah. So thank you, Nathan and Ben, for doing a quick demo. So just to reiterate again, these questions, you don't have to answer all of them. I'm sure I listened around and you guys weren't answering them all, so I'm glad you guys listened to that. But just to reiterate, these are just for guidance. So then we're going to explain our groups, our zones. So zone, oh, wait. Oh, okay, well, something happened. Anyway, zone 1 is where Nathan is standing. So groups 1, 2, and 3, you guys on my cue, you guys will go to that corner and you guys will find your trio, your triplet, I guess. And then zone 2, groups 4, 5, and 6 is where Ben is standing. So that's 4, 5, and 6 is where, and you guys don't move yet. Groups 7, 8, and 9, that's zone 3. That's where Nathan's standing back over there, back right. And then lastly, groups 10, 11, and 12 are in zone 4. So again, if you can't find someone to a group, raise your hand, and then Ben and Nathan and Alex will try to help you find your triplets. So you guys are free to do that now. So remember your zones. Oh wait, sorry. You guys are taking your slips of paper, right? Okay, good. What? Oh, and don't begin yet. Just wait until I tell you to begin. Just find your triplet and settle down. And then raise your hand if you can't find a group of 3. Remember, don't start yet, sorry. Raise your hand, raise your hand. Over there, Ben, back there, back there. Raise your hand if you can't find anybody to finish your triplet. Don't start yet, don't start yet. Okay, oh, front, zone 2 needs someone here. Someone help facilitate, please. Okay, is everyone ready? Did everyone find their group? All right, we good? All right, so person G, got, oh, 2 L's. Oh, sorry. Wait, fill in. Nathan, oh wait, no. Is there anyone on curriculum? Please fill in. Okay, are we good? What? Okay, so person with gratitude, you have 2 minutes starting now. Questions are up on the screen if you need reference. No, someone's changing it. Stop changing it. Stop changing it. 30 seconds left. Remember, mindful listening. Don't speak while the other person's speaking. Okay, 2 minutes are up. Thank you, person G. Respect, you're up next. 2 minutes now. Oh, okay, that's fine. Okay. I just have Holden on standby. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, 30-second warning. Did you find her? Wait, wait, wait. Press check document. Check that. Turn right and then go on this, like the very inside. No, like turn. Go. I don't know. Okay, time's up. Thank you, person R. Person L, love. Please start your 2 minutes now. Can you get Holden on standby? Huh? Remember, this is love. L, the last sharing. Mindful listening. 30-second warning. Okay, that's 2 minutes up. So thank your partners for sharing with each other. And I would please return to your groups, your original groups. Thank you everyone for participating. In the back, I think that's zone 3 or 4. I'm sorry to break up your discussion. Go back. Thank you. Okay, can everyone return to their original groups? Thank you. Thank you, front half, for being so nice. Okay, thank you everyone for returning to your seat. So let me try this a second time. Is there anyone who would like to share what they shared in their group? It doesn't have to be yourself, again. It can be something you found really touching or like something you talked about that you found was really interesting. Please, just one person. I'm just asking for one. Anybody? Oh, okay, Brian! Thank you, Ryan.
One of our group members said, or he talked about love and he talked about his parents. So he talked about the kind of unconditional love that your parents give you, and that even when things aren't going the best in your life, you can at least fall back on the love that your parents have for you, because their love is unconditional and you know you'll always have it, even no matter how things are going on in your life. Oh, my name is Brian Xiao. I'm from UT Austin, which is the southern region, which is in Texas.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian, again for your sharing. Yes, unconditional love, parents. A lot of parents in the room, I feel like. You can all relate to that. So, like to, oh no. Can someone switch to the next slide, please? This is just a conclusion. So, thank you all for participating. I hope that you keep your heart maps in your heart as we enrich our life and awaken our heart. Again, we'll be using these tomorrow, so don't lose them. And thank you again for participating in our GRL Icebreaker. So later tonight, actually, we'll be learning our camp song, Sign Language, which is, the song is called Gratitude, Respect, and Love. So I hope you take these sentiments that you discussed today into your signing when you're learning the sign language. So thank you again. I'll hand the mic back to Holden.
Thank you, Nicole, for starting that interpersonal dialogue with us. We can look forward to more enriching exercises in the days to come. Now, let's bring to the stage Sister Huiying to introduce us to the concept of mindful eating.
Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? My name is Huiying. I'm from the Boston region, and I'm so happy to be here, given this opportunity to share with you my thoughts and experience with mindful eating. Let me guess. What were you guys thinking about right now? What are you thinking about right now? Dinner. Okay. What else are you thinking right now? What you're going to eat for dinner, what you're going to eat tomorrow, what you ate during snack time. We spend a lot of time thinking about food, right? Would you raise your hand if you say you wake up thinking about what you're going to eat? Raise your hand if the first thing you think about every morning is like, what am I going to eat today? Okay, I got people supporting me. Yes, I think about that too. Thank you. So, have you ever thought about how food come to be in your house? So, this is a review of science class. We've learned about food chains, an ecosystem. Do we realize that actually everything came from the sun? The sun allowed the plants to thrive. The plants feed the animals. Sometimes we eat the animals or we eat the plants directly. And then when everything dies, there are decomposers that decompose everything and bring everything back to nature. Isn't that a beautiful web of exchange? It's this exchange of energy, right? We're all participating in the system. That's on a scientific level. If we think about the actual process of food production, there are little bees, butterflies, and all these adorable farmers working throughout the country, sometimes in Mexico and Ecuador and different parts of the world, growing all these fruits and vegetables and animals that gets delivered miles and miles away into where we live. And then your parents or yourself or the lovely Sukusupo will then buy the food, cook it, prepare it, and then serve it for us. So it's such a long process, right? And then it's this huge system of economic exchange. You buy food, you pay money, you have to work to make the money, or your parents give you the money. So it's this huge web of interdependence. We're dependent on these people producing the food, delivering the food, and selling the food for us. Otherwise, we would have no food, unless you learn how to grow your own food, right? Who here actually grows your own food? Ooh, we have one Sigu who actually has her own garden. So that is awesome, right? So we have to really think about that, right? Like how few of us are actually directly in touch with the food that we're eating. So before I continue, I would like to share a story from Myanmar in the Tzu Chi world that you get to learn more about mindful eating.
缅甸的穷人呐、因为有慈济的精神啊，他们创造了米铺满。今天这一家人要吃的米，倒下了这样的鸽子里面呐、又伸手拿了一把米放在另外的一个桶，这叫做米铺满。虽然少了那一把米，可是一家人还是可以吃得饱。所以说来，10分饱，节省2分，那也可以帮助别人。只要心中有爱呀、不怕穷，怕的呢就是心灵灾难啊。所以我们人人呢，真正的要善解啊，那苦人之苦，不要奢侈啦，省一些呢，可以帮助别人哦。天下已经多灾多难啦，饥荒呢的恶真的是在垂危中，我们要真正的用这一份的悲念。
So Master has this really beautiful quote. With love in our hearts, we will be spiritually rich. So that's a really beautiful spirit of really saving that 20% to give, right? Even these farmers in Myanmar that Tzu Chi got to know because they had a flooding, we went in and gave them rice seeds and taught them how to farm more effectively. They had no money to even give. They don't even have spare change that they could give. But they're like, I have rice, I can give rice. And when 10 families do the same thing of putting one handful aside every meal, they can feed another family in their community. And if we really think about how lucky we are living in here in the United States, a lot of us actually have extra food in our fridge. We always have leftovers when we are going out eating with our friends. And a lot of these food get forgotten in our fridge, right? And we really need to think about how are we consuming all these food, right? What are our shopping habits when it comes to food? How often do we shop? How often do we clear out our fridge Do we remember what we really have before we go and buy something new? I know every time I go to Trader Joe's, I'm like, oh, this snack looks so good. I've never had this before. I need to buy this. And it's like, it's chocolate hummus. I don't know if I really like it. And then it's like I eat a little bit of it, and then it gets forgotten, right? We all do this. So I just want to invite everyone to think a little more about your shopping habits. And every time you buy food or think about something that is old, how can you prevent that food waste in the future of not buying it? When you're eating out with friends, can you ask a friend and say, hey, I'm trying to be healthy. Do you want to share an entree with me? Can we share an appetizer instead of buying our own entrees? There are many, many ways we can think about that, right? And in this spirit of eating 80% and giving 20%, it's like putting this pie together. If every bit of us just put a little pie aside, we can make a whole new pie and feed someone else. And how do we know we're actually 80% full? Who can tell me that every meal you sort of know you've reached 80% full? Raise your hand if you sort of know when you're like 80% full. Nice. There's some really sensitive people here, right? I usually eat very fast, and I don't know I've hit 80%, right? We're so busy, we're like watching TV while we're eating, right? So we really need to slow down and really listen to our body to know, oh, I've actually hit 80%, maybe 95%, right? So I have to slow down. So that's just something that we can think about. And I would like to introduce a couple rituals in Tzu Chi during our meal times. And in Tzu Chi, during breakfast and lunch, we sing the song of offering. Does anyone know what is the word offering means? Any raise hands? Want to tell me what offering means? Have you guys heard of the word offering? Okay, so an offering in Buddhism, when we say offering, like you're just offering something, right? You're like telling a friend, hey, I'd like to offer you something. When you're offering something, it's unconditional. You're not looking for anything in return. You're just genuinely giving that from your heart. So in the past, a lot of Buddhist monks and many practitioners live in poverty, right? They don't work. They're not farmers. They're just studying the Dharma every day. And they live on people's donations. And these are called offerings, right? People offer food, material, clothing, shelter to these monks because they want to support their practice and learn Dharma from them. So it's a way of honoring someone and gifting someone something unconditionally. So in Buddhism, there are 3 forms of offerings that the Buddha taught and Master Cheng Yen explained. There are offerings of materials, which is giving money or food or clothing or materials. And then there's offering of reverence, which means I respect you so much that I'm willing to listen to you. I'll bow to you. I'll focus my heart when I talk to you, which is very rare. Like even within our family, sometimes we're so impatient we don't offer that respect to each other. And the last offering, which is what Master Cheng Yen really, really values, is the offering of conduct, which means I'm honoring you by putting what you've taught me into practice. This is what Master Cheng Yen always tells her disciples to do. I don't want your money. I don't want your food. I just want you to really take what I teach you, which is love, into practice. That's the highest form of offering. But if you think about it, every time we eat a meal, we're receiving offering, right? We're receiving this love from the volunteers who cooked for us. If we're at home, we're receiving food that is cooked by our family members or our friends or our loved ones. It is made with unconditional love. And we really need to honor that offering. So when we sing the song of offering, I'd like to invite everyone to think about how each meal is an exchange of offerings, right? You're receiving offering, you're receiving nourishment, but how are you in exchange offering yourself back to the food? It's like I'm grateful that someone is nourishing my body and my mind, and I want to make my offering in spirit to the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha, which is the spirit of love, and also to offer all the sentient beings that's involved in this web of producing my food, right? They've offered themselves for me to eat. And now I get to offer my gratitude, my full presence by really being mindful and savoring this process of eating. And to attain that highest form of offering, we need to offer in conduct, right? So that's why we make a vow to say, I will vow to do all good with the energy that I will get from this food and not do anything bad. And hopefully I can transform all people to do the same. So that's the spirit behind the song that we sing during breakfast and lunch. It's in the spirit of Buddhism teachings, but if you are of a different faith, different religion, feel free to honor it in your own way. And we're not trying to convert everyone to be Buddhist. It's just the spirit of offering. I think it's so universal and so beautiful that I hope you would get to explore it. And in dinner time, we sing the song of gratitude. It's a slightly different song because in Buddhist tradition, monks typically do not eat dinner because they usually meditate all day. So they usually beg for alms and receive food once a day. So they usually don't eat dinner. But in Tzu Chi, we serve dinner because a lot of volunteers work all day and night, and they're very physically laborious work. So we sing a different song to also express the same spirit of gratitude and to remind ourselves that every particle of food has traveled a long way to get to our plate. So we should savor it really, really mindfully and be grateful for the grace of all beings, because all beings are involved in the process, even bacteria, bugs, and people that are cooking and cleaning and making it possible. And I'd like to show you a couple pictures of how Tzu Chi meals typically start. I know a lot of you are very young and very new volunteers. I'd like to challenge you to see this as an experiment in mindfulness, right? And really try to honor this ritual of nourishing your body with food. In Tzu Chi, we start the meal by laying out our bowls and our chopsticks. And the lid is a separate plate in a way. We take food from the communal bowls into your lid, and then you eat from the lid into your own bowl so that it prevents cross-contamination and bacteria. And before every meal, after we sing the song, we say a little grace or thanks by putting our palms together. Why do we put our palms together? Putting our palms together is like focusing the heart into the present moment. It's just a gesture to remind ourselves to be focused, to be present, because we're often scattered-minded and distracted, so we put our palms together to remind ourselves to realign our body and mind so that we're in the moment experiencing this meal. And you lift the chopsticks with 2 hands, with the left hand supporting the tips and the right hand lifting it. Then you use the chopsticks to lift up the bowl, and you hold the bowl in your hand. So when you're lifting the bowl, you want to keep 4 fingers really tight under the bowl. So you're kind of like a dragon mouth with your hand, and it's a very solid grip. And in Chinese tradition, this is how the emperors would eat. It's a way to really honor yourself, respect yourself, put your body in full alignment. And this gesture of like really focusing your hand brings focus to the whole experience as well. And it's like the phoenix sipping water, which means you use the chopsticks and you bring your mouth to the food. And it's a challenge to be super dignified and see yourself as like a royalty, a person who's really mindful, aligned in body and spirit as you eat, and really nourishing your body and your mind while you're eating. And at the end of the meal, in Tzu Chi, we have this thing called Xi Fu Shui, which is cherishing your blessings water. So you see a silver kettle at the table. You pour a little bit of water. You use 1 piece of vegetable to wash out the sauces and grease in the bowl, and you drink it like a little soup. So the idea is to really cherish every bit of the food so that you're not really wasting any food, right? Because there are people that are starving in the world, and all of this grease would clog up the system when you have to wash it. So it's just a way to really cherish every bit of blessings that we have, and also realize that there are people that are just eating these kind of food, right? They're just eating water and whatever they can find in different parts of the world. So this is just a reminder to really be mindful and cherishing our blessings. And before the end of the meal, we put our palms together again and say thanks and grace, just to focus our hearts and really bring that dignified and grateful atmosphere back. Sometimes you do this in a group together to wait for everyone to be done, and then you end the meal together. Or you do it yourself, and then you wash your bowl, and then you regroup, and then you come back. And there's also another ritual which we do in Tzu Chi. When we walk to the dining hall, we'll be chanting the Buddha's name. It's a form of walking meditation, and you learn to be in sync with all your group mates as you walk to the dining hall. We'll be doing that today. So you'll be chanting as you're walking. Even if you don't know the language, you can just experience the atmosphere of walking in sync with the group as a form of practice of mindfulness. So that's how we eat in Tzu Chi. And feel free to ask your group leaders some questions. In Tzu Chi, we really try to be mindful even as we're taking food from the communal bowl and offering gratitude to the staff who have cooked for us. And finally, I'd like to take a couple minutes and invite you to consider going on a plant-based diet. Who here is on a plant-based diet where you don't eat any meat? Please raise your hand. Yay, awesome. Who here thinks they might want to consider going more plant-based, less meat? Awesome, that's great. So I know many of you have seen a lot of literature and education materials about going vegan, going vegetarian, so I wouldn't repeat too much of the details, but I just want to tell you that a lot of scientists have come to consensus that animal farming and animal protein food production is the highest polluter in terms of carbon emissions. So if we reduce our consumption of meat, we can really help reverse climate change and reduce our carbon footprint and the usage of water and so on. And it really increases the health of the body if you are eating healthy plant-based food, not just the processed food, right? So I'd like to invite everyone to join us on the Global Ethical Eating Day campaign. I would share a little bit of my journey and how I became vegan. I graduated college and I was like, I want to learn to cook something more interesting. I'm from Malaysia. All my mom taught me was how to cook chicken. I was like, this is not very creative. So I was like, I'll challenge myself to not cook meat at all at home. I would sometimes eat outside with meat. And I was like, wow, if I go vegetarian, I'm learning how to cook Indian food, Mexican food, Nepali food. There's just so many food options that are vegetarian that I've never considered. So challenging myself as a chef to cook vegetarian food that is as tasty, if not more tasty than meat, was a really fun challenge. And to the point that I was like, this is so fun. I can challenge myself and push myself to a different level of cooking skills. And I can even convince my friends that I'm actually cooking vegan food and you wouldn't even notice, right? So that's a good way to think about food. And the more I research the plant-based diet, the more I know about nutrition. And there's so much to learn about nutrition and body types and eating seasonally, locally. And I really invite everyone to go on that journey and learn more about their body types, your nutrition, because the body is really a vessel for spiritual practice, and we need to take care of our body very, very well so we can help the people who love us not be worried about our health. And I think food is definitely the biggest contributor to our well-being. So definitely consider going plant-based and learn more about eating plant-based very, very healthily. And that is the end of my sharing. Is there any questions that I can help answer when it comes to these etiquette? If not, I won't keep you guys from dinner, so I'll hand this back to Holden.
Thank you, Sister Hui. Now that we've learned about mindful eating, we can put it to the test at dinner. Now, some announcements from our lead attendee.
Hello, everyone. I'm back. That means it's almost time for food. That's right. After talking about food, I'm sure everyone's getting hungry. So I will try not to. I'll try to go through these announcements quickly. So first, housekeeping item. Earlier, I made the incorrect announcements for the bags. We actually would like everyone to keep them inside the table, not outside. This is so that we can keep the aisles clear so people don't trip as you're walking out. So thank you for that. Second, after dinner, we have arranged a very special opportunity for everyone here today. We will have the opportunity to have a live video connection with Master De Chen from the abode in Taiwan. And she's going to give us a class, special class from Taiwan. And it's a very rare opportunity for us to be able to connect here in the US as part of this English spiritual retreat. So what that means is that first we will need to ask everyone to be back here seated, ready for connection by 7:05 p.m., okay? 7:05 p.m. And then second, before we head out of the room, we're going to ask everyone to sort of clear the tables, collect the Post-it notes and leave them in one pile. Nicole will come by later and pick those up. And then when the live video feed begins, of course, because it is a very rare opportunity, we encourage everyone to stay present and sort of be paying attention. I know many of us are probably tired from traveling, but again, it is a very special opportunity. And then, as Holden said, we will have an opportunity to immediately practice mindfulness of eating. So in addition to what Sister Hui Ying has covered in her class, we have a few small notes about the process. So in a few minutes, you will leave in your groups. Your group leaders will lead you out of this hall. And then you're all going to line up by group in the lobby downstairs where you first checked in today. Okay, you'll line up in sequential order. And then the spiritual team will lead everybody entering the dining hall by chanting. Now, the chanting will be in Chinese. There won't be a translation. However, if you don't know the words, please feel free to either sing along, follow along, or just keep your palms together and then walk mindfully, or however other way that you feel comfortable sort of paying respect for the food that we're about to eat. When you enter the hall, you'll follow your group leaders around the table, and then we'll stay standing. We'll sing the song of gratitude, which Sister Hui Ying mentioned, do one bow, and then everyone will be seated to eat. And then one small note on mindfulness of sitting. When we are around the table, before we sit, we can gently lift the chairs and then place it out for where we are to sit, rather than dragging the chair and making the noise on the ground, right? So gently lifting the chair, and then we step in from the left, step in, and then we can all be seated together. Okay? When everyone is finished eating, we can wash our bowl as a group. We can wash our bowls together and then leave the dining hall together. We won't need to wait for the entire group, just by individual small group. You can wash bowls and leave the dining hall. And then as you leave, please rearrange the chairs as you found them. When you go downstairs, you'll see that it's arranged 2 by 2, so 2 on each side. When you eat, you won't be able to sit that way, but before you leave, you want to place it back the way that you found. Okay? And then, let's see. I think that is it in terms of reminders. When in doubt, just follow your group leaders. They, you can look to them for cues. Okay. Any questions? Okay, sorry. A few other quick notes for the class when we come back at 7:05. So it will be a live feed, and we will greet Master Dutsun. And the MC is going to sort of provide some instructions for how we are to greet Master Dutsun together. It should be just one bow. So just follow his instructions, and we'll say hello to Master Dutsun. And then if you are on the Wi-Fi, and this announcement is for staff as well, by 7 o'clock, if you could all please turn off your Wi-Fi so that we can keep the bandwidth clear for our video connection. We want it to be as stable as possible so we can hear the class very smoothly. And then one final note for the class at 7. We don't, at the end of Master Dutsun's class, rather than clapping, in order to show our gratitude and pay our respect, we can put our palms together and do a slight bow, right? And then that will be sufficient. So no need to clap at the end of the class. Okay? Thank you all for listening so patiently. I am going to hand the mic back to Holden for one more thing before dinner.
So for an additional announcement about our next class with Master Dutsun, please do not leave the class. The class will be 35 minutes, so please be here seated and try not to stand up or leave the class during her talk. And dinner is not quite ready yet. We have about 15 minutes, so Sister Hui Ying will come back on the stage to lead us in some stretches.
Sorry, guys. I talk way too fast, so they told me to keep you guys here for a couple more minutes, right? So who here has heard about this Qigong method called the 8 brocades, 8段锦? No, right? So some of you have heard of it, right? So let's practice this together. We'll do it a little bit to give everyone more energy for the rest of the day. Please stand up and follow me. So I'll need someone to help me hold the mic. Okay, so try to take a step to the left or like find some space where you won't hit anyone, okay? So there are 8 moves to this, right? I'm gonna teach a couple of these. They're super easy, and I highly encourage everyone to do this every morning because this has been around since the Song Dynasty, and it's really, really healthy. Okay, the first move is called 两手托天理三交. You're trying to support the heaven, and it will smooth out your system. Okay, so you're gonna do this. Clasp your hand in the middle, and you're gonna support the heaven like it's in front of you. Once you pass the eyes, you push up. Like you're supporting the sky. And then you just slowly come down, look forward, and bend your knees. Come back to the middle, clasp your hands again, lift up again, turn up, look forward, come down. You're gonna do this 8 times. It's the 8 brocade. So there are 8 moves that we repeat 8 times. This is the 3rd time. Look forward, come down. Clasp, support heaven, push up. Look forward, come down. What time is this? Okay, good job. 6, look up, forward, come down to your knees. 7, up. 8. So after you look at the sky, what do you see in the sky? Birds, right? So you're gonna try and shoot the bird. Sorry, Suchi, no shooting, right? We're just gonna say hi to the bird. So we're gonna shoot to the left. So imagine you're shooting the arrow with an L with your left hand, shoot out to the left. And you're pulling the arrow with the right hand in front of your chest. And you're standing with the horse stance, which means your legs are slightly open, pulling the bow and arrow. You look to what you're shooting or saying hi to, and then you look at the other hand. You come back to the center. I'm gonna shoot and pull bow the other side. Yep. Make sure you're opening up your chest. Come back to center. Pull bow, shoot to the left. Look at your right hand, come back to center. Pull bow, shoot to the right. Come back to center. Pull bow, shoot to the left. Look at your right hand, come back to center. Open up your legs, pull bow, shoot to the right. That's about 8 times. So the story goes, after you shoot the bird, you thank them for sacrificing themselves, and you're gonna serve them as food. So you're gonna lift up one plate up to the sky, and you push up and down. This is called splitting the heaven and earth. And then you come back to center, form a ball, and you lift up the right hand. Another plate of chicken, push up. Come back to center, ball, lift up, up. Really push both sides out, right? Come back, push up. Come back to the ball, and then keep going. We can go a little faster now, okay? Push up, back, up, back, up. And the last move I'll teach you is that you're gonna check to make sure everyone has gotten their food. So you're gonna turn back and really open up your wrist and look to the back on the right side. Come back, hold the ball, bend your knees, turn to the left, look all the way back, open up your wrist. This really relaxes the shoulder and wrist for preventing carpal tunnel. Come back to a ball, hold a ball in the middle. Open right, ball, open left, ball, open right, hold the ball, left, ball, right, ball, and I'll teach you guys the other moves next time. Okay, now get your EPK, tidy up your